Hello and welcome back to Kester's Forest. Now this week we're going to do a bit of a review of Nyxi's Nyxi Wizard, which as you can see is a wireless controller for the Switch in the form of a Gamecube controller. Now flipping it over to take a look on the back, we can see that there are a few nice features. It has Hall effect joysticks to prevent drift. Quite a nice looking joypad here, which I'm quite looking forward to trying out because I don't have a good one for the Switch. There are some nice sort of Gamecube style buttons here which actually light up, which is really quite a cool little feature. And here you can see we've got these two advanced gaming buttons, which are actually programmable triggers on the back, allowing you to program up to 21 different button and joystick combinations. I think the packaging is really nicely done. It feels very quality. Looking inside here, you can see we've got the actual controller itself, and here we've got the product manual, which has some instructions on how to use some of the features there. Very nice. And underneath that, we've got the pack accessories, which opening it up, we can see we get ourselves a USB charging cable, USB-C, and next to that we have these two purple plastic rings, which we will get to in a minute. Now, taking it out of the packaging, I am immediately struck by how quality this feels, but also how light it is. I don't know what I was expecting because obviously it has batteries inside there, but it is lighter than I thought it was going to be. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just not expected. On top here, we got 4 digital triggers. Unlike the GameCube, the Switch is digital, doesn't have any analog triggers, and here are the thumbsticks, which are very nice to feel, and a slight difference there from the GameCube in that the yellow one is a proper thumbstick. Also get these replaceable rings for around the outside of the joysticks. These are the smooth ones that came in the box, and you also get these octagonal ones, which are much more like the original GameCube controller, just helping you point there and lock into one of 8 directions. And at the bottom here you can see we have 2 USB-C ports, and that's because these are 2 separate Joy-Cons. And on the back here you can see we have these triggers. Now it's a bit awkward to get these apart, but let's take them off the middle bit here, this piece of plastic in the middle, and it is just a piece of plastic, and see them as separate Joy-Cons. They're very comfortable to hold, but as you can see, I don't think anyone will be using them as Joy-Cons. It's a bit ridiculous and uncomfortable to hold, even though it does still allow for these SL and SR buttons at the top. And you can see there's a sync button as well. Yeah, it's not going to really be very practical to play the 2-player game this way. Now here you can see we have this additional configuration button, along with the standard buttons you would get on a Switch controller. There's one on each side, and these are to program the rear triggers. You press the button, you put your combination up to 21 moves, and then press the button again to save the combination. So we'll have a go at that later on and see how that actually plays out. But yeah, it feels nice to hold as it is right now, but really what we need to do next is see how this is in the field playing some games. So next up we've got a charge, and I've just got this plugged in with the standard USB-C cable that it came with, and it's flashing away and charging. And now that we're all fully charged, you can see that the buttons light up, which is pretty cool. And then I thought I would just lastly have a look and compare these in size to an original GameCube controller and my Pro controller here as well. And you can see it's fairly comparable in size. Now in handheld mode, the biggest plus here, apart from the comfort, and it's very comfortable, is that it is so light. It hasn't really added much weight to the Switch, and this makes it much easier to play for longer periods of time just due to the size. I've had to configure the buttons slightly because of the way they're laid out. It was just much more comfortable this way, so that's something to take note. But actually I'm playing Cuphead now, which as everyone knows is incredibly difficult, and it's fine. I'm playing just fine, and I'm not having any difficulty beating the bosses. Switching modes though, I'm playing Mario 3 here, and it's a slightly different story. I'm really starting to feel a bit of lag here, and this is a game I'm extremely familiar with, so it's very easy for me to tell, and I'm dying a lot more often than I would normally. The D-pad's actually not too bad. It's quite shiny but relatively comfortable, but yeah, I think with all the lag, we're really starting to have a little bit of trouble here. So yeah, not recommended for those old school games which require pinpoint accuracy. Moving over though to a more modern game, here we have Kirby, and it feels fine again because this game does not require that level of accuracy. You know, there's only a few buttons you actually need in Kirby. It's floaty, it's fun, and I'm really enjoying myself with this game, in fact. And this bit with the car was actually quite tricky for me a few months ago when I played it first, and it's no bother this time round. So yeah, definitely fine for this kind of game. So how about those programmable triggers then? Well, I thought the best way to test that would be to try Street Fighter 2. Now, you just saw me pull off a Hadouken then, so you know I can do it. And now I'm pressing that profile button and desperately trying to program in this move. And I'm getting really frustrated until it dawns on me that I'm actually only able to program one Joy-Con at a time. So yes, you can see the flaw in that plan. So yes, I've programmed myself jumping up and down, which is of no use to anyone. So just time for one final test, and I thought the best way to do that would be to actually compare it to someone that's very familiar with the GameCube game, and that would be my son Toby. So we're going to have a look now at him playing Metroid Prime Remastered using the new GameCube controller because he's so familiar with playing the original on the old one.
Bit delayed, a tiny bit, like I'm pressing jump or like I move the thing, and it's like about like a tiny second. Thumbsticks, they're fine, like they're a bit laggy as well, but like they feel quite authentic to a GameCube controller. It feels quite similar to a GameCube controller, like itself. Like maybe a couple of the buttons feel a bit more like stiffer than they would on a GameCube. It's a pretty good weight. Like, it's not too heavy.
You think it's heavy or light?
It's quite light actually. Like I've had heavier controllers. Pro controller. It's more comfy, and I prefer the weight of a Pro controller. It's slightly heavier. Triggers are fine. If like, then again a bit delayed. They feel nice to press though. There's like a GameCube controller's kind of rumble. Like if it's trying to replicate a GameCube controller, it does a pretty good job at that. It's a bit clunky to reach your thumb and press up here, and even more clunky if you want to press A. Like it could be in a better position. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. Like I've used worse controllers because it does the job at like working as a GameCube controller, but some of the triggers could be slightly more comfier to use. I like the joysticks. They work really well.
Yeah.
And I think like the main buttons are also quite nice. It could be, I think, a bit heavier, and the triggers and auto fire could be changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So there you go. A very valuable opinion there for Toby, because he really does love the GameCube and Metroid, so you know his opinion to me really counts. So overall then, from my point of view, I actually really do like this controller. I completely recommend it to anyone. However, there are some things you need to know going into it. I think when it's standalone like this, the lag is a little bit noticeable, which is going to affect some games. I'm not entirely sure you're going to be playing games that require pinpoint accuracy with this controller in this environment, so I'm not sure how much of a problem that really is. The D-pad's really nice, and as Toby says, the auto fire is a little bit clunky, and also programming just one half of the controller is not going to be very useful a lot of the time. But overall, yeah, I'd recommend this, and of course it has those Hall effect sensors, which means the sticks aren't going to wear out anytime soon, so yeah, definitely recommended for that reason. Okay, that's it for this week. Let me know down in the comments if you have one and what you think, and I'll see you next time on Kester's Forest.